The Real News with Lucretia Hughes is funded by you, the viewers, not U.S. aid. So to support the show, please donate through PayPal at Fallback Production Studio, Cash App $ Lucretia Hughes 44, Venmo at Lucretia-Hughes, or shop at our store, fallbackusa2.myshopify.com. Thank you so much.
You got to play something.
Mom, it's plugged in.
Hold on, y'all. We'll be right back.
We are running a sale on our entire We the People line of products. Just use promo code TOLDYOUSO and get 15% off until the end of March. So order today.
The Real News with Lucretia Hughes is funded by you, the viewers, not U.S. aid. So to support the show, please donate through PayPal at Fallback Production Studio, Cash App $ Lucretia Hughes 44, Venmo at Lucretia-Hughes, or shop at our store, fallbackusa2.myshopify.com. Thank you so much.
I don't know what it is about my daughter when she comes in here. Boy, she be kicking stuff like crazy. My computer is booting itself back up. But that's my daughter, everybody. So welcome back. Welcome back to The Real News with Lucretia Hughes, because I really want to get this very last interview in for Friday. And whenever Dave gets him up and size him up, we're going to bring on Tom Murphy. Like I said, sometimes shows go the way you want them to go, and sometimes they don't. But I think my daughter's just super. I think she's just jinxy.
Zoom says I still have to wait 3 more minutes to get a new link.
That'll be fine. Did that squeal in my ear? Yep. Please don't do that again. Hey, so welcome back. I think my daughter's just jinxy. I mean, seriously, I saw her kick it and the whole thing was blank. So it just had to reboot. Sometimes you got to get somebody to pay attention. So, hey, welcome back, Karma. I have no earthly idea why my computer keep doing it. I think it must be something internally. So we got 3 more minutes for Dave to refurbish the Zoom link, and then once he does that, he is going to get it emailed off to Tom, and then Tom Murphy, who is the candidate for Senate for the state of South Carolina, and he is going head to head with Lindsey Graham. So we've been saying term limits for Lindsey. He needs to get out of there. Well, we got a viable conservative MAGA, God Family Country Trump candidate. And after the stunts that Lindsey Graham has been pulling for years now, we finally have a viable candidate that is willing to take him on and sit him down just for what he did to the disrespect to President Trump. Lucretia, what disrespect I'm talking about? Him going over to Ukraine, acting like they buddies, while you got Marco Rubio and the rest of them trying to do peace with Ukraine and Russia, while you got little pocket man over there having buddy conversations with the industrial, military industrial complex, Lindsey Graham. So this man is showing his true colors. And he's not America first. He's never been America first. And I don't care I'm from South Carolina, where my dad is. So living in South Carolina and actually knowing and been following Lindsey Graham, no more. He needs to be primary. And he need to be primary by a great person. And that's who we got coming up next, and that's Tom. And I'm going to help him. I am literally going to help him campaign and win against Lindsey Graham. It is what it is. I am sick of him. What Tucker Town fella? Where you live at? That's Paul Wall want to know. Hey, Miss Katina, what is going on? Hey, Paul Wall, South Carolina here. I'll vote for him. Because, we only getting 2. We only got 2 senators per state. So when Dave, Stan Fitzgerald was like, oh my God, we got a candidate for Senate. I was like, Senate? And I said, there's Lindsey Graham, and then there's Tim Scott. So I can understand why he's not, I don't even understand why he's not going after the low-hanging fruit, Tim Scott. Maybe because he was endorsed by President Trump. But Lindsey Graham, that neocon need to leave. Listen, that neocon, he needs to bounce. And I'm an equal opportunity picker owner. And I know a neocon. And knowing the show and how y'all have taught me over the years made me wake up my eyes to Lindsey Graham a long time ago, right along with John McCain. So when Stan Fitzgerald emailed me and text me and said that, hey, we got Tom coming on. I said, Tom who? He said, Tom Murphy. Okay. He's a candidate for United States Senate, and he's taking on Lindsey Graham. Bring him on. I will stay here until 10 o'clock if necessary. We've done it before. We would have had a whole marathon. So I see him on the screen. So everybody, I want to introduce you to the next senator, United States. Paul Wall, here's your senator, your next sitting senator of the United States of South Carolina. Bring in Tom Murphy. Hey, Tom.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I couldn't be better. I'm having a glorious run right now, and I think right now we are having a phenomenal run, especially right now for this seat, because we're seeing so much is being brought out about Mr. Graham that we've as a state have been trying for such a long time to expose, and to see this finally coming to light. I think we've really got a definite shot right now. So I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate having the technical difficulties earlier today.
Don't even worry about it. I was going to wait on you no matter what. I was going to wait for this interview because I want to know what made you want to run against a Lindsey Graham. What made you want to take on that big of a task to run for a United States Senate seat against a long-term incumbent, even though we know he is not an 80-20 Republican. We know he is part of the old guard in the old GOP, or good old politics. What made you settle and make your mind up to take on Lindsey Graham?
I had a long discussion with 2 of my brothers who are also one to active duty. He's a Navy commander, intelligence officer, and an older brother who is a retired Master Chief. After my father had passed away, we were having a discussion as a family, and my younger brother had asked me, I graduated from law school the year before my father had passed away, and hadn't started working yet. So Harry had, basically said, now that you've got your law degree, you haven't started working. What do you really want to do with this? And I really thought long and hard about that answer. And I knew that at the time, I was not very happy with the way that things were going here in South Carolina. I was not very happy with the fact that the more and more I've had discussions with people here in my state, it just seems like people felt that he was out of touch with our fellow statesmen. I've had a real interest in politics my entire life. I've always had a real knack on arguing points back and forth. So it was kind of ironic that, this was kind of the direction that we were heading in. So I took the advice of my younger brother, and ultimately decided that the best way that I could further continue to represent my country was to try to take on a monumental challenge. And there's challenges that I've done in the past before that, some people may have thought, well, these are big tasks that you're taking on that I've overcome before in my life. I'm an amputee. I fought back while I was on active duty to return to full duty, to stay in the military. Had deployed one more time after coming back on the full duty after losing my leg. I'm a huge hockey player, and after losing my leg, I decided I wanted to use that as a platform, and I decided to try out for the U.S. amputee hockey team, and earned a spot on that team as well as the goalkeeper, where I've been playing for several years ever since. So I've always thought that, you're never going to improve in life unless you decide to set goals that are high goals and run after those goals. So this was something that I thought that I could continue to ultimately do to help my country.
Well, being a veteran for the military, thank you for your service. This is the way I'm looking at it, because he is so quick to put our men and women in harm's way by giving us and putting us into frivolous wars, or advocating for us to stay in wars, or advocating for us to be the military might of the world, and we can't do that because we're losing our own sons and daughters. How do you feel about that? Because that is one of the key things that you can run on as being God Family Country. You are military. You are from South Carolina. You are what it means to actually stand up and run for a Senate seat. Do you see an uphill battle? Because with him being a sitting incumbent with a little bit of money and a little bit of power, do you feel like he's gonna direct all of his minions to go after you and try to make you drop out of the race?
Absolutely. I think if there's one senator that we currently have sitting right now, Senator Graham probably has one of the largest war chests that are out there right now. We know that his backing, because he is such a strong advocate of military aggression, he's got that backing of, the lobbyists, the Boeings and the weapons companies that essentially look for somebody who they can focus on and advocate on their behalf. Now, I'm not saying that, financially it's bad that, our country is developing, something to help our country and helping people with jobs and stuff. However, when my own statesmen say that, they can't even get an opportunity to get in and see him and discuss things with him, but yet these lobbyists have no problems getting in there, that's an issue. Being a hospital corpsman, part of my job was a medic, and it's something that we have always held dear, that, we always wanted to protect. I've got kids and I've got grandkids, and obviously I'm concerned for their safety and for their futures, as well as the rest of my state. It's to be so quick to be on that trigger to send our men and women out to combat, especially now where we're seeing that a lot of these conflicts that are out there, really, it's not it's somewhere where we want to send our young men and women out to die in. We saw the horrific outcome of Afghanistan.
Yes.
we saw the horrific outcomes of what happened in Iraq. I was in Iraq. That I was in Fallujah and saw arguably one of the bloodiest battles that in the recent history of the Marine Corps. So my concern is obviously for the safety and security, the wealth, and the ultimate long-term longevity of people. And so I kind of I stand back from wanting to even recognize that we need to put young men and women at the risk of having to deploy and die in these wars. It's something that President Trump also is very heavily advocating on, not having such that war stance. He doesn't want us in these global wars. He doesn't want us to be a warfaring nation. Now, having a strong military is different. Having a mindful military is different. That's aggression through strength to, essentially show that you don't want to mess with the U.S., but you want to actively send people to, he's advocated for having pilots go to Ukraine to fight in Ukraine. And I just think more and more this country is starting to realize that these battles are not the battles that America is worth sending our young men and women to die in.
Or our billions of dollars already. If listening to President Donald Trump's press conference, he said the number is actually $350 billion that has been given to Ukraine. Now, you being a senator, and we know there's only 2 per state, and there's only 100. What do you feel like you could have done, not only keeping some of that money inside of the military, but also bringing some of that money back to South Carolina? What do you feel like you could do, and better than Lindsey Graham ever could, when it comes to focusing back on the citizens of South Carolina as being one of the senators for South Carolina?
Well, we are a developing state as far as, jobs coming to our state. There's a lot of people that often talk about our transportation here as far as roads, and that's a frequent consideration that people are often complaining about. I can tell you here in Columbia, I've known Columbia ever since 1993, and there's an area in Columbia called Malfunction Junction, and that's part of the highway interchange between 26 and 20 that's perpetually in a constant state of, development and road maintenance. And so that's one of the things that I definitely hear quite frequently, is people saying, if we could concentrate, if we can have our senators, even though they serve at the federal level, they make the federal laws, but to be able to say, instead of needlessly sending our taxpayer money out to these foreign wars, how can we maintain that in the United States to do better for our own civilians? It was quite interesting. I was having a discussion just 2 days ago with somebody, and they brought up a great point that, with our taxes, the amount of taxes that people are paying, but yet our government is so willing to send all our tax money out to these foreign wars. How could we actually in turn justify it and say, okay, instead of charging so much tax, and what can we do to reduce that tax burden in our civilians, and ultimately in the long term helping out civilians? We're not having to pay so much. We have more in our paychecks. We can do more. We can afford more. So these are just a couple of the advocates that we could actually work on here.
How do you expect to widen 2026? That is, I call that the spaghetti junction of Columbia, because when if you stay in on 20 all of the roads kind of merge, but then you also go down 20 a little bit further down, and you got military installations all over. You can literally look out on 20. What are you gonna do about all the congestion, and not only that, because since you will be the senator for the state of South Carolina, what else do you want to see improved besides the roads in for the citizens of South Carolina?
Right. So I can tell you right now, there are a lot of um, there's a lot of projects, or there's a lot of real estate that are on the sides of our freeways right
Mm-hmm.
now that are actually in severe disarray. We're talking about dilapidated, buildings that really they're not even being used anymore. To be able to, as a state, develop those areas, improve on, things such as um, lanes that can be specifically targeted for during rush hour, that those lanes specifically are used. That way more people will have the opportunity to smoothly make those kind of transitions. um, Another couple of things, I guess, here in the state, South Carolina is such a huge military state.
Yes.
We've got everything. We've got the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines here in the state. And ultimately, because of that large population, we also have a vast veteran population
Yes.
here. And we as veterans know that access to veteran healthcare is a major crisis. I can tell you, I just had an appointment 3 days ago with my primary care provider, and we were talking about some of these issues, about the fact that access to care is such a hard thing right now. To be able to advocate for the VA to hire better providers, to hire, providers that will actually stay on for a long term instead of coming in for 4 or 6 years, getting experience and then going out to the civilian community. But also we need to look on, access to care for veterans outside of the hospitals
Mm-hmm.
as well. Um, a lot of, especially here in South Carolina, we have a lot of veterans that live in the rural communities that, it takes them 2 hours just to get to a VA hospital. To
Yes.
be able to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, when we living in Spartanburg County, and I had to take my dad to the VA. When I was there, we would have to drive to Columbia. We had to get on 26. And here's a question, because somebody asked, has Lindsey Graham ever served in the military?
Yeah, he has. He was a reservist.
That's not the
He,
same. That is not the
you're
same.
you're right. It's not. It absolutely is not. And one of the main pushbacks that a lot of people actually talk about is the fact that while he was in the reserves, he was given the title of actually being an instructor in the JAG Corps. And the man actually never set one foot in that instructor position. But yet
Wait. JAG
they
is
gave him
the
credit for it.
JAG is like the law, lawyers, the law, the judge. That's what JAG is, right? Dude,
That is correct.
he got his law license,
He did. He sure did.
and he's an instructor in JAG as a
Um,
reservist.
he was, yeah. Like I said, it's definitely a point of contention, because people have called him out for the fact that he never once stepped foot in that teaching role either.
And then you
How
want to send our men and women over to war, but you've never tasted war. You want to advocate for war, but you've never actually had your boots on the ground, dodging bullets. You want to make sure that no money is allocated for the state of South Carolina to make sure that the VA clinics and the hospitals are more well equipped, but you want more money for more bullets and weaponry so you can buddy up on the board of directors of Lockheed Martin, all Boeing, and the rest of it. Yeah, you need to sit down, sir. At least you know what war is. At least you know the tragedy and the PTSD and the VA hospitals and making appointments. And how is he going to speak for the military if he don't respect the military?
Right, exactly. And, I mean, people will say that, well, Lindsay actually did on separate occasions was in country and in Iraq or Afghanistan. However, when we look back at that path, what it was he would be over there for congressional duties and then stay on for 2 weeks just to see what was going on. However, like you said, as a JAG officer, it's not boots on ground in combat. No JAG officer I have ever seen has ever been outside the wire, actually hand in hand fighting with the soldiers. Unfortunately, there's a big difference.
It is.
When you are protected, you don't get that reference of the true tragedies and possibilities of what happens. So you don't get that burning internal understanding of truly what happens in a war. It's one thing to you to get a report given to you about the number of people that have been injured or tragically killed, but actually to see that, to have to work with, as we call them, our angels in combat, it gives you a different perspective on truly what war is all about.
Now, with the Senate, also, because they saying that the pocketbook starts in the House of Representatives and then it moves on to the Senate. Well, there was a lot of votes last night, procedural votes going on, and you're going to have to be in Washington, D.C. to make sure that the right budget, the right stuff, the closure votes, all the rest of this. Are you ready to step up into the swamp and help tame that beast? Because they have, what we're finding out from USAID, the wasteful fraud, abuse, and the waste, and the pork and earmarks. They have to stop. Do you see a way out for not only better economic situations for the citizens of South Carolina, better, like you said, better roads? Do you see more better schoolings to bring some money, more money home and allocate it for the programs that's really going to betterment everybody in the Palmetto State?
Oh, I absolutely do. We see in our state legislation right now in the House and the Senate, there's a lot more advocating for, school choice and homeschool. I can tell you that my grandchildren right now, they're in those programs because my daughter had seen the fact that there was such a big disparity in what was being taught in our schools, what was being given for our students, and the greater abilities for school choice and for homeschooling as well. So I think we need to look at investing a lot more on especially our future generation, because let's face it, this is why we do this. It's for our future generation. Um, Another frustrating thing, especially about last night, we saw, Mr. Graham, he's been advocating for continued funding for the Ukraine war, where we see that President Trump has been rigorously, trying to end that conflict.
He promised Zelensky $1 billion more after President Trump said the money train has stopped. Yes, it was this week. He went over to Ukraine and they was sitting across the table from each other like he's the mediator between I don't know, Marco Rubio and President Trump. He's not. That's not the job that he's a senator. So it just seems that when he goes over there and he advocates for war, it's more like he's advocating for himself and not the citizens of South Carolina or the citizens of the United States, because he don't even have any kids to be a unfortunate son. It's
No, not at all.
so he
Not
doesn't
at all.
care about putting your grandchildren at harm's way, my family in harm's way, to betterment his pocket. And I'm not afraid to say it, because when you are on a board of directors, or you're in that type of decision making abilities as a war machine, and the only thing that you're good for is pushing for war and not a peaceful transition, I got a problem. And I don't want another Strom Thurmond. I don't want
No.
someone that's going to die there because they think they deserve that spot. Do you? I truly believe you can take him down.
You know, I've also had a lot of discussions with people in regards to, do I have an aspiration? You talked about Mr. Thurman, about, he was the longest serving senator in history. Um, and Mr. Graham, this will be his fifth run for the Senate. That's a career politician.
Sure is.
When our career politicians are in it that long, they lose sight of the reason why they're supposed to be there. We pay their salaries. They're supposed to be the voice. Unfortunately, right now, because of the 17th Amendment, they are the voice of the people, because it's the people who elect them. However, there's no ability for our state, when they disagree, especially with, our party, to be able to essentially do anything if he goes outside that realm of what we consider a true conservative vote or a true conservative way. The most that we can do as a state is censure. However,
That's not going to happen.
yeah, I mean, we have Drew McKissick here. That's one of Lindsay's biggest friends.
Wait a minute.
And
Did you say
what's that?
you say Lindsey Graham been sitting up there 5 consecutive terms? Isn't
This will be his fifth one, yeah.
20 years? He's been
Yeah.
there for 20 years.
Well, if we look at it, this will be. He's been up on the Hill since 2003, between his Senate and his congressional time that he spent. So, yeah, I mean, over 20 years worth of service up there.
And 20 years ago, we was not $37 trillion in debt. 20 years ago, we wasn't even 11,000. He is the problem. He is the problem, from the bottom line to the budget to our legislators and our residents and evil walking all over the Constitution. It's like, what is he defending? Is he defending God? Is he defending the family? Is he defending the country? Is he truly gonna stab President Trump in the back again? Because that's what he did when he closed his mouth when all of this was happening in 2020. And thank you for running against Lindsey Graham. I don't even live in South Carolina anymore. I'm just one state over in Georgia, but I still got family there. We got a lot of people that's watching this show right now that actually lives in South Carolina. So you giving them not only a fresh perspective, but you giving them someone that is truly going to stand up for their God, their family, their country, and support Donald J. Trump, because your grandfather, that makes you a father. You're a soldier. So you're everything that, when we look at our military and we look at our protectors of our Constitution, we look at the Oath Keepers, the militia, the Second Amendment, all the way around, you are that man. And it's not Miss Lindsay.
Thank you. Well, I hope that, we can give some hope, that we can give the ability for people to look up to our elected officials again, and to actually say, let's bring somebody in who's going to be a compassionate person, and somebody that will be willing to work with the constituent base. I love talking to people. I have discussions every day with people. It's something that, that's just who I am. And to be able to hear the stories of, what people would like to see for the betterment of the state, I think that needs to be a more routine discussion. I have discussions all the time, every single day, with people in regards to what they would like to see better for this country. And I think ultimately we need to have a politician in office who's willing to have those every single day discussions.
Well, you have someone from here, from South Carolina. His name is Paul Wall, and he has a question for you. He said, Lucretia, ask him about who is Hugh Leatherman. Who's Hugh Leatherman?
The name doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, who's Hugh? You got to ask another question, Paul Wall. I've never heard of a Hugh Letterman either. But there's so many people in South Carolina. There's no telling. But to me personally, and they are asking questions in the live chat, and I didn't know there's so many people from South Carolina that actually listens and saying they're going to vote for you. But Hugh Letterman was a problem also in South Carolina. So I'm going to copy and paste. Now I want to know who this Hugh Letterman is, because he ain't running against Hugh. He was born in 1931. He died in 2021, Paul Wall. He's already met his maker. I didn't mean to say it like that. But the dude is dead. He's dead. Hugh Letterman is dead. He sounded like a long-term incumbent at the state level that y'all could never get rid of. And it sounded like he was a Ralston of South Carolina, which means he stuck in that position, got all the power, had the most persuasion in Columbia with SLED, with everything else. That sounds like a Hugh Letterman. So that's probably what it is. But everybody, because it is the end of the show, sir, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. I want to help you with your campaign. I want you to come back on and ask a lot more questions, talk to the people that's actually watching from South Carolina, get a lot more of your policies out there, how we can help, help you campaign. What do you need from us? We are willing to open up our whole platform for you to take him down. I mean, seriously, Tom, you got to take that dude out. Not like that. Not take him out, but you got to take him out.
Politically retire him.
Yes, you can. Yes, take him out by retiring him, or Gitmo. I mean, because somebody better tell me where he got all those millions at. I'm gonna need a line item audit of his bottom line. We want to know if he was receiving kickbacks. I want to know if he was getting money from Boeing. I want to know if he was getting money from the military-industrial complex. And if he did, then you know what? You didn't uphold your oath, not only to the Republican Party and the Republican brand and the platform, but you didn't even hold your oath when it comes to the Constitution of the United States. It seemed to me that money and power and connections come more than the people of the Palmetto State. And I want to support you because you care more about the people of South Kakalaki and the people of America than he does at this moment in time.
Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
So I'm going to give you. Go ahead.
Let's hope that Doge. We see a lot of big things coming down with Doge. We see them going into the DOD right now.
Why don't you start talking about it? Because I guarantee you, Lindsey Graham ain't never ever going to say we need a Doge at South Carolina level. He will buck that system so fast if you start going out there and talking about maybe we need a Doge in South Carolina. Maybe we need a Doge around in every state in America. So if the United States, and we are agreeing to fund, because, most states get their funding from the government, make sure they are locked in step with the government. If not, they don't receive the funds and it's taken back. So every state need to have a Doge.
Absolutely.
So you have the last word. You take us out. Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can help you, where they can find more information, not only on your candidacy and your campaign, but also how they can get out there and help you and join your campaign to help you fight to win that seat.
Absolutely. So on the 15th of March, I actually have a huge get-together that we're trying to get as many volunteers as possible. It's actually 3 o'clock at a restaurant in Columbia called the Peanut Man. We're trying to get as many people out there as possible so that we can form a huge coalition together. and start actually, bringing in a lot more contributions and getting out to more and more of our districts here in Columbia. Thank you for putting my website up on um, the overhead. It's Thomas Murphy for SC.com. It's got a lot of information there about who I am, some of the policies that I champion, and also there's a donation link right there on my website as well.
So
I just want to also say that, being a veteran, I just wanted to say, God bless our troops that are out there right now. They are ultimately serving in the biggest capacity that any man could possibly, serve this nation. And I just wanted to say, God bless our troops. God bless their families, because their families are serving right alongside our active duty members as well.
So everybody, y'all get over there to Thomas Mercy 4, the number 4, South Kakalak SC, okay, .com. You can go over there, you can donate, you can sign up, you can volunteer your time, because remember, the only thing that Lindsey Graham have is a big war chest, because only he's a warmonger. So right now you have a strong MAGA grassroots candidate that is more valuable than any candidate that I have seen since leaving South Carolina, and we need new blood in the Senate seat. And no more Lindsey Graham. If he wants to be in a war so bad, then let's go ahead and kick him out, vote him out, and he can join any battles that he wants to. So, Tom, I just want to say thank you so much, even coming on just a little bit later than we had you the first time. Just thank you so much for hanging in there and just giving us your time. And then whenever you want to come back on this show, please let us know, and you are here.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate the time, and I appreciate the platform that you've given me.
Thank you. So everybody, y'all know it is. It is Fallback Friday. Y'all have this is the end of the show. Y'all get over there to fallbackusa2.myshopify.com. You can support us that way. Remember, if you're a voting member of the NRA, you please vote for me for the board of directors. I am number either 21 or 26, depending on what magazine you're getting it from. Lucretia Hughes Klukin. You'll see Loganville, Georgia. If you are a voting member of the NRA, please vote for me for the board of directors. And if you just want to contribute and you just want to donate, go in any of the chat rooms, Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, because you know what? We're not NPR, but we are grassroots. And the only way we keep the show going is viewers like you. That was corny. So everybody, you know what to do. Go ahead, Dave. All right, Melissa and Cindy out there, Marsha, have a blessed one. Deborah, you have a great one. Michelle, thank y'all for hanging in here. Cindy, thank you for hanging up in here. We really appreciate it. I'm just going from Vicky. Girl, I saw you over there a while ago by X-Filers. There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. Hey, go ahead. What else? And where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together. We're polishing up our acts now. If you felt like you've been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. Hey, I want y'all to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Woo, woo. Hey, USA, what? USA. And ain't no stopping us now. Hey, if you live in the state of Georgia, your very first mass meeting is tomorrow, especially if you're in a county over 80,000. You need to be in line by 10. The door in the room at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So the district, not the district, but the county mass meetings for the population over 80,000 is tomorrow. So if you want to be a delegate or alternate to the state of Georgia GOP, a Republican Party, our very first mass meetings is tomorrow. You must be in the room at 10 o'clock before the doors close. So if you want to be an alternate, you want to be a delegate for the state, get there tomorrow, make your voice be heard, show up at your precinct, get to become a alternate or delegate for your precinct, move on up to the district. Once you're at the district, you move on up to the state, you fight for your state. So everybody, y'all get over there and donate, donate, donate. Holler! Faded to black.
Here we go. She's on 5 to 7, 9 to 10 p.m. Fallback Productions. Talks about topics of the day and loves her country, the U.S. of A. Got her Get Right rally on tax day. Got family country Trump is her thing. She don't know the songs, gives Dave a hard time. Don't worry, it's fine. He's still her Valentine. Keeps us in the loop. Don't you know, sit back and enjoy the Lucretia Hughes